Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin.
Picture a calm blue morning spread across the sea like a soft blanket, the kind you tuck under your chin when you are ready to drift. The water is still and wide, and the light from the rising sun slips down into it, turning everything quiet and silver. Somewhere beneath that gentle surface, a dolphin moves slowly, not quite awake and not quite asleep, sliding through the water as if it were gliding through a dream. It breathes in a steady rhythm, a whisper of air and mist, and one bright eye is open while the other eye rests. Half the brain is on watch, half the brain is at peace. This is the strange, careful sleep of a sea creature who must always remember to breathe. When we sleep, we usually fall into a full surrender. The whole brain drowses and the body handles the breath without us. But a dolphin lives in water, and breath is a choice that must be made at the surface. So nature found a patient way. Inside the dolphin's head, one side of the brain can drift into sleep while the other side stays awake enough to steer, to rise, to watch for danger. The resting half sinks into quiet, lowering its signals like a village turning off lamps for the night. The waking half keeps a soft lamp lit, just bright enough to guide the path to air. And then after a while the roles switch. The open eye closes, the closed eye opens, and the ocean rocks this slow exchange as if turning a pillow over to the cool side. You can almost feel the rhythm if you imagine standing on the deck of a small boat, the boards warm under your feet, the sea slipping by. A pair of dolphins appears, mother and calf moving as one. They do not stop entirely because stopping would be like forgetting to breathe. Instead, they enter what looks like a hush. Their strokes grow shallower. Their backs rise and fall with long pauses between. The calf tucks near the mother's side, riding invisible currents that form along her body, a gentle doorway made of moving water. In that sheltered place, the calf can rest without working too hard, the same way you might lean your head against a parent's shoulder on a slow train. Even in this resting, the mother keeps one half of her mind present, a bright watcher in a dim room, ready to lift them both toward the next breath of sky. Think of the ocean as a wide night full of thin silver moons. Some moons are bubbles rising from the dolphin's blowholes, popping with soft sighs. Beneath those moons, sound travels farther and faster than in air. Dolphins speak in whistles and soft clicks, they paint shapes with echoes. But during this partial sleep, their voices lower, their clicking slows, their calls thin out like morning fog. It is not silence exactly. It is more like a whisper you can still hear if you listen with your whole body. The resting half of the brain loosens its hold on the busy tasks of hunting, playing, and talking, and the waking half keeps a small circle of attention around the world. The pressure of water, the pull of currents, the shadow of a passing shape, the need to rise. Some people say it is a clever trick, as if the dolphin learned to live inside two rooms at once. But this is not a trick, it is an old solution polished by time. Long ago, when ancestors of whales and dolphins first returned to the sea, they carried lungs instead of gills. They had to build a life with breath as a decision, not as a background song. The body changed shape. Nostrils slid to the top of the head and became blowholes. The limbs turned to flippers. The tail broadened into a strong, flat fin. And the brain learned to sleep in halves. Imagine a book that you read one page at a time, keeping a finger at your place so you never lose the thread. That is how a dolphin rests, finger always marking the margin. The story can pause, but air must always be found. Let's drift deeper into this quiet skill. In the calm zones of the sea, where waves are small and the wind is soft, a resting dolphin might swim in slow circles. Each circle is a promise not to stray too far from the surface. The body barely works, the water does the holding. Watch closely and you might see a marsh blue eye gazing outward with the soft shine of attention. That eye is the mirror of the awake hemisphere. On the other side, the eyelid is closed, and the brain there hums with sleep waves, slow and rolling, like a long low tide inside the skull. Scientists who have listened in on those waves, using safe methods that read tiny electrical patterns through the skin, find that the two halves do different things at different times. One side shows the gentle hills of sleep, the other the busy little peaks of wakefulness. After a while, like partners passing a candle in a dark hall, they trade. If you lean your ear to the world, you might notice that it is not just dolphins who can do this. Certain seabirds and seals also rest with one half of the brain at a time, but a dolphin's life turns that ability into an art. It has no nest to settle into, or branch to grasp. The ocean is nest and branch and bed all at once, and also the path to every breath. So the half-sleep becomes a lullaby the ocean can sing without pausing the need to move. Even when dolphins gather in groups, drifting through a long night, you will see a pattern if you look. Some eyes closed, some open, bodies unhurried, a pulse of rising and falling as if the group itself were one big chest breathing. Now imagine the youngest among them. A newborn calf is part milk, part curiosity, and part spark. In the first days, it hardly sleeps at all in the way we think of sleep. It follows its mother closely, nursing often, learning the shape of her tail, the sound of her call, the shelter of her wake. The mother, in turn, reduces her deep rest, holding a long attentiveness close to her like a shawl. For weeks, the two live like a single thought stretching through the sea, one sense wide awake, one sense gently resting, switching and switching until the calf learns the rhythm. This is not a harsh life. It is a patient training, a careful teaching of how to carry rest without letting go of air. Some nights a low moon hangs over the water, and the sea becomes a plain of mercury, smooth and shining under the sky. In that light, a dolphin's skin looks like polished stone, gray and silver. The blowhole opens and closes with a damp sound, almost like a sleepy cough. You can hear it if you sit very still, the way you can hear your own heart in a quiet room. Each breath is a small ritual. The head rises, the hole opens, the air rushes out, and then in, the hole closes, the head slips back under. Even in half-sleep, the body keeps this ritual with care. There are no mistakes. The ocean does not forgive forgetting, so the awake half of the brain stands guard like a lighthouse keeper, lantern trimmed, eyes steady. Let's drift even deeper to the feeling of time inside this rest. Time in the ocean is counted not just by hours but by distances and depths. A resting dolphin may choose the warmer layer of water near the surface, where the sea feels like a bath left out in the sun. It may follow a slow current, letting it carry the body the way a long sentence carries a thought. The waking hemisphere watches for changes. Cooler water sliding in, a new smell in the air that rides down into the blowhole, a hint of storm on the way, a glint of a fin that is not a friend. The resting hemisphere, meanwhile, floats in its own gentle dark, perhaps tidying memories from the day, how the school swam through a forest of seagrass, how the clicks bounced off the bellies of fish, how a wave broke in just the right way to lift them like a hand. People wonder what dreams are like in such a mind. Do dolphins dream? Some scientists think so. They watch the twitches, the tiny movements of muscles, and the changes in breathing. They measure the patterns of brain waves and find hints of deeper stages that look a little like our dreams. If they do dream, perhaps the dreams slide like thin ribbons between the halves, never fully taking over, always sharing space with the watchful part. Imagine a dream of open water, full of dappled light, where fish move like sparks and a distant whale sings. And at the edge of that dream stands a doorway with one eye open, making sure the dreamer keeps moving just enough to live. There is a kindness in this design, though it may seem strict. It allows rest and safety to hold hands. It lets a creature made for breath in air live fully in water without giving up the soft need to sleep. The ocean is large and sometimes wild, but the dolphin's half-sleep is a small, steady promise inside that wildness. It says, I will rest, but I will not forget the sky. I will drift, but I will not lose the surface. I will close my eye, but only one at a time, so I can keep this thread unbroken between deep and air. Think of a long passage through open sea when the group must travel from one feeding ground to another. The days stretch, the nights stretch. The sea changes color under shifting skies. In such journeys, this way of sleeping is like a pocket of comfort sewn into the long coat of travel. The dolphins keep moving, but at a slower pace, taking turns with wakefulness, sharing the job of watching. One swims closer to the edge of the group, scanning the dim water. Another sinks into the middle and rests more deeply. Later they switch. It is not a rule written in words, but it is a pattern old as their ancestors. The sea accepts it, and the sea respects it, and in that quiet agreement, they pass through the long miles as if cradled. If you have ever tried to doze on a bus, you might know a tiny hint of this feeling. Your head dips, your shoulder brushes the window. A light part of your mind counts the stops so you do not miss yours. The rest of you floats. For the dolphin, that light watcher is stronger, clearer, and shared between the two halves with care. The open eye holds the thread of the world, the sea. Ost eye sinks into the soft weave of sleep. Back and forth they go, like the slow swing of a hammock in a breezy room. Let us linger a moment with the senses. The ocean is full of touch. Water slides along skin, each swirl a sentence. Pressure changes with depth, temperature shifts with currents, salt tastes different where a river meets the sea. In half-sleep, the awake side of the brain listens to these touches with a focused calm. It may not be chattering with the sharp clicks of hunting, but it still holds a quiet map, like the dim glow of town lights you can see from far away. It knows where the surface is, where the group is, where the dark runs deeper. And in the softer inner room, the resting side gathers itself, tucks in, and lets the day settle. Sometimes, near coasts where waves crumble into foam, dolphins come close in the dark hours and drift just beyond the break. The moon lifts and falls on the water, and the foam shines like lace. Their backs rise like smooth stones, then slide down again. A fisherman on the shore might hear only the faint blows and think of sleeping animals under a blanket, and he would not be wrong. They are sleeping in their careful way, inside a moving bed that remembers to breathe. There is a quiet wisdom here that belongs not only to dolphins but to the sea itself. Rest does not have to be a full stop. It can be a gentle glide, a trusting rhythm, a small lamp kept burning while most of the house sleeps. This is the lesson the dolphin carries on its path through the waves. The lesson says that safety can be made, not just found, and that alertness and peace can share a body like neighbors who borrow sugar from each other and keep the porch light on. Now imagine following a single dolphin through one whole cycle of this half-sleep. The sun lowers. The sky turns to rose, then violet, then a peppering of stars. The dolphin eats while there is light, plays a little, rides the low swells with its friends. When the first thin line of night has settled on the water, it slips into its slow circle near the surface. One eye closes, the other looks out. Breath comes and goes, a soft puff, a tiny cloud that dissolves. Inside, the left hemisphere, perhaps, begins to rest. The right hemisphere keeps watch. Hours pass like gentle waves under a pier. Then, as the deep night pulls itself tighter around the sea, the switch happens. The right rests, the left watches. Dawn will find both refreshed, even though neither has ever fully let go. By the time morning returns, the ocean is a quiet mirror again, and the dolphin's movements pick up a little energy. A friend nudges it, a quick touch like a hello. They greet each other with small sounds, bright and chirping, the way children trade secrets when they wake. Breakfast begins in a flurry of bubbles and turning bodies as fish scatter, and the chase is on. The half-sleep has done its work. It has kept the thread unbroken and the body ready. It has stored memories, smoothed the mind, kept a watch, held the breath, and offered safety all at once with the grace of a long-practiced dance. And if you close your eyes now and imagine that dance, you might feel the sea tugging at your ankles, the light flickering across a sandy floor, the taste of salt at the back of your throat. You might feel how rest can be wide and wandering, not a single door you close, but a hallway you walk slowly down, touching the walls as you go, lantern in one hand, pillow in the other. In that image, the dolphin's open eye is the lantern. The sleeping half of the brain is the pillow. The sea is the hallway, and breath is the door at the end that opens every time, again and again, into morning. Now let us wander deeper into the mystery, not rushing, but floating as though carried by the tide itself. When we think about sleep, we often think of it as an escape, a leaving of the waking world. Yet for dolphins, sleep is not an escape at all, but a way of weaving life and rest into one seamless braid. Scientists call this state unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. The words may sound sharp, but the meaning is gentle. One hemisphere of the brain sings the long, slow song of sleep, while the other hums the tune of wakefulness. It is as if two musicians in the same orchestra take turns resting, passing the melody back and forth so the music never stops. Picture again the broad ocean, stretched under the stars like an endless quilt stitched with waves. In the middle of that quilt swims a pod of dolphins, each one glowing faintly with its own awareness, each one partly here and partly drifting inward. The awake hemisphere is busy with quiet vigilance, the kind that notices shapes at the edge of vision, the subtle changes in sound, the delicate tilt of a wave. The resting hemisphere, meanwhile, opens its arms to the softer processes, repairing, storing, and remembering. Memories of daylight hunts, of playful leaps, of the calf's laughter like whistles, are folded gently into the mind's archive. Sleep is not absence, it is gardening. And in the dolphin's case, the garden is tended by half a mind while the other half guards the gate. Scientists have studied this by watching captive dolphins in still pools, where electrodes can read their brain waves without harm. They found the same waves we know from human sleep, slow, rolling crests of activity like ocean swells, but they appear on only one side at a time. The other side, the open-eyed side, shows patterns like a gentle day, not busy with thought but steady and aware. And what is most astonishing is that dolphins can keep this up for days, even weeks, without full rest. Some studies have watched them perform tasks for 15 straight days, never faltering, always switching halves, always carrying the lamp of attention. To us, it would feel impossible, but to them it is simply the rhythm of life. Let's drift into the poetry of this design. Imagine if you two could close half your mind while keeping the other half awake. You might nap on a park bench while still watching for the bus. You might dream of a meadow while still listening for a loved one's footsteps. This gift of divided rest is not just survival, it is a balance of trust and caution, a way of living both within the world and within the self at once. For dolphins, it is essential, but it also feels like a lesson the ocean is whispering to us, that even in rest we may carry some small awareness, and even in wakefulness we may hold softness. The connections to nature grow even wider when we look at other animals. Seals can slip into the same state when they float at the surface. Migrating birds, such as swifts, have been seen to sleep in the air, half a brain at a time, wings still moving in the long sky. The Arctic tern, crossing from one end of the planet to the other, rests in this half-dream to keep its journey unbroken. The pattern is not limited to the sea. It is a deeper wisdom of life itself, showing that rest and watchfulness need not be enemies. They can be partners, each taking turns, each holding the world steady for the other. But the dolphin adds something more, a rich language carried in sound. Even when half asleep, dolphins still make clicks and whistles, softer and fewer but present. Some scientists believe this means that even in rest, they are linked to the group, sending gentle signals like hands brushing in the dark. A sleeping pod is not a collection of lonely animals. It is a circle of friends tied by sound, each one holding its piece of the net. One brain half sleeps, but the bond does not sleep. The bond hums quietly, like a lullaby shared by many throats. The calf too grows into this. For the first weeks, the mother may go nearly without sleep, holding her calf safe as it learns. She drifts with open eyes, body steady, heart patient. Only later, as the calf grows stronger, does the pattern begin to mirror hers. Tiny naps, half-brain pauses, cautious trials of letting go. Over months, the calf learns the rhythm as surely as it learns to swim. It is not simply biology. It is culture, a passing of wisdom from mother to young, repeated across generations until it becomes second nature. In this way, the sea teaches patience, and patience teaches safety. Let us pause at the surface. The stars above the ocean are like bright sparks scattered across an endless ceiling. Dolphins break that ceiling with each breath, little lanterns of mist that rise and fade. If you listened long enough, you might find a rhythm to those breaths, a rhythm that tells you which half of the brain is watching. The left hemisphere controls the right side of the body, the right hemisphere the left. And so the open eye tells the secret. If the left eye is open, the right hemisphere is asleep. If the right eye is open, the left hemisphere dreams. Even without wires or machines, nature has given us this visible sign. It is as if the dolphin wears a badge saying, "This is the half that rests now." And what happens inside that resting half, we can only guess. Perhaps it replays the day's hunts. Perhaps it strengthens the pathways that guide their sonar, making the echoes sharper and the images clearer. Perhaps it even dreams of play, of leaping from the water into the silver air, of chasing fish that shine like coins, of gliding with kin in spirals of bubbles. Dreams may not be as deep as ours, for half the mind is always awake, but even a half-dream is enough to soften the heart and settle the nerves. In that half-dream, the dolphin is not divided. It is whole, simply balanced between two states. There is a lesson here about balance itself. Too much vigilance and the body would exhaust. Too much rest and the body would drown. But nature, patient and clever, found the middle path. The dolphin walks that path not on land but in water, not on 2 feet but with a sweeping tail, carrying rest and alertness like two shells held together. For us it is a marvel, for them it is simply life, and in that life there is peace. As dawn stretches across the sea, the pod begins to stir more actively. The sleeping hemispheres awaken, the eyes open wide, the whistles grow louder, more playful. The chase resumes, fish scattering in sudden rainbows of scales. But behind this busy life lies the foundation of the night's half-rest. Without it, the energy would falter, the group would weaken. With it, they rise renewed, as if the sea itself has cradled them through the dark hours, rocking them gently without letting them go. And so the strange world of dolphin sleep is not strange at all when you see it closely. It is a quiet compromise, a gentle trick of balance, a partnership between brain and sea. It shows us that sleep does not have to be total to be real, that rest can be woven with awareness, that dreams can bloom even in half a mind. It reminds us softly that life itself is balance, and that the ocean holds not only mysteries but answers whispered in the hush of waves. The ocean at night is a quiet cradle, rocking back and forth with the long swell of waves, and within that cradle the dolphin's sleep drifts toward its gentle resolution. To understand it more deeply, we can think not only of what dolphins do, but of what sleep means for every creature. Sleep is restoration, memory-keeping, repair. In the body of a dolphin, as in ours, tiny cells mend themselves during these hours of slow calm. Proteins fold into their shapes, tissues restore their strength, the immune system sharpens its quiet vigilance. Even in half a brain, the work is done with care. The half that rests does not waste its time. It turns inward, tending to the gardens of thought and the scaffolding of the body. The half that wakes does not resent its duty. It watches with patient eyes, guarding the precious balance of breath and life. It may seem strange that such a divided sleep can still do the work of wholeness, but the dolphin's life proves it. They live for decades, carrying scars of encounters, carrying songs learned from elders, carrying calves by their sides into adulthood. If their sleep were not enough, if it failed to mend or to remember, their long journeys could not continue. Yet they do continue with grace. And so the strange split of unihemispheric rest is not a weakness. It is a hidden strength, a way to weave survival into the fabric of restoration without losing either. Imagine a dolphin slipping through the water in half-sleep. Its muscles loosen but do not fail. Its eye closes on one side, the other shining faintly in the starlight. The ocean carries it, the group surrounds it, and for those hours the dolphin exists in a liminal state, not fully here, not fully gone, but balanced like a feather on the wind. In that balance lies peace, a peace made not of forgetting the world, but of sharing it with rest. That perhaps is the true secret. That sleep need not be withdrawal. It can be partnership, a rhythm that allows a creature to stay in its world while still drifting into another. Let us consider how this rhythm reflects upon our own lives. We too live in worlds that often do not pause. We too must find rest amid movement, must guard our balance while mending our strength. Though we cannot split our brains in half, we know the feeling of half-awareness, dozing lightly while keeping an ear open for a child's cry, resting in a chair but hearing the clock strike the hours. These are our tiny echoes of the dolphin's greater art. They remind us that rest can come even in fragments, that peace can be made even in vigilance, that the body and mind can share duties instead of abandoning them entirely. The ocean shows us this truth in so many ways. The tides never stop, yet the shore rests. The moon never tires, yet it wanes and waxes with quiet grace. The dolphin never sleeps fully, yet it dreams enough to be whole. Nature, in its patience, offers many models of balance, and this is one of its most poetic. If you watch a pod gliding under the moon, you will not see struggle. You will see calm, the kind of calm that comes from long practice, from trust in the body's wisdom, from the steady companionship of kin. In their sleep, the dolphins teach without speaking, to hold on gently, to release gently, to balance gently. As the night deepens, the sea cools and thickens with quiet. The stars scatter more brightly above, the currents hush, and the pod sinks into slower circles. The calves tuck close, the mothers steady their sides, the young adults drift near each other like a cluster of leaves floating in a pond. Each breath is a puff of mist, each eye half closed in turn, each body rocking on the pulse of the ocean. It is a scene of trust, trust in the water to hold, trust in companions to guard, trust in the body to remember its breath. This trust is the foundation of their sleep as much as the divided brain. Without trust, vigilance would consume them. With trust, half a mind is enough. And in the earliest light of dawn, when the horizon blushes pale and the water turns the color of pearls, the pod begins to stir. The open eyes blink against the light, the closed eyes open, the halves return to their harmony of wakefulness. The whistles rise, playful again, the tails beat stronger, the circle breaks into movement. The long night's half-rest has done its quiet work, and now the dolphins are ready to begin again, to hunt, to leap, to speak, to play. Their lives resume with the same joy, as if the sea itself had sung them awake. To close our gaze upon this story, let us think of the dolphin's half-sleep as more than just a survival trick. It is a meditation, a living balance between vigilance and surrender. It reminds us that life is not all or nothing, not awake or asleep, not safe or vulnerable. It can be both at once. The dolphin swims with half a mind in the world and half a mind in dreams, and in that balance it thrives. Perhaps this is why, when we watch dolphins leap in the surf or glide beside a boat, we feel a sense of wonder not only at their play but at their poise. They are masters of balance in body, in breath, in rest, and in being. The sea holds many secrets, but some of the quietest secrets are also the most beautiful. Among them is this, that even in the restless deep, sleep can find its way. Even in the wide, moving ocean, rest can take root. Even in a brain divided, peace can bloom whole. And as the dolphins drift on into another day, carrying the memory of the night's calm with them, the ocean keeps rocking its endless cradle, singing the same song it has always sung, a song of balance, of breath, of the strange and gentle sleep of animals who never forget the sky. As the last leaves of autumn fall, brushing the forest floor in quiet whispers of orange and gold, the world begins to prepare for a slower rhythm. There is a hush that settles across the woods, a gentle pause between the bustling days of summer and the deep, soft silence of winter. Amid the oaks and maples, where the soil smells of moss and the air carries the faint taste of frost, a bear begins its journey inward, not into some distant place, but inward into itself, where a quiet chamber awaits. Hibernation is not simply sleep. It is a slow unraveling of time, a retreat into a private sanctuary where the body and mind can breathe in harmony with the rhythm of the earth. As the sun tilts lower in the sky, the bear feels a tug, a gentle invitation to follow the unseen trail toward stillness. In the deep forest, hidden beneath the tangle of roots and leaves, the bear seeks a den. It may be a hollowed-out tree, a cave carved by time, or a nest of branches woven together with patience. The choice is never hurried. It is made with quiet deliberation, with an eye for warmth, safety, and solitude. When the den is chosen, the bear does not leap into sleep immediately. Instead, it lingers in the threshold, sniffing the air, pressing its muzzle against the walls, listening to the faint heartbeat of the forest outside. Every sound, every scent, every gentle shift in the wind is recorded, catalogued, and remembered. This is the preparation of hibernation, not a rush but a slow descent, a gradual aligning with the pulse of the winter world. Inside the den, the bear curls into itself, folding large limbs into the tight space, resting its head upon the soft bed of leaves and moss. The body temperature lowers, the heart beats more slowly, and the metabolism begins its gentle retreat. For months, the bear will exist in a state that balances between waking and sleeping, between hunger and fullness, between awareness and stillness. Food is stored not in the mouth but in fat, layers of life and sustenance that carry the animal through the long, cold months. Every ounce of energy is preserved, every cell readied for the quiet work of repair. And yet this is not a rigid pause, it is a flexible, adaptive state. The bear can awaken if danger approaches, shifting slowly but surely, ready to defend itself or to leave if necessary. In this way, hibernation is not vulnerability, it is a careful negotiation with the rhythms of life. Scientists have studied bears for decades, discovering remarkable truths about their hibernation. Even as the heart slows to a fraction of its normal pace, the blood continues to circulate efficiently, carrying oxygen and nutrients with quiet precision. Muscles do not waste away despite the months of immobility, bones remain strong, and organs continue their essential functions. It is as if the body has learned to whisper instead of shout, to move in silence instead of in force, to exist in a gentle, sustainable mode. This is what hibernation teaches us about resilience, not the loud resilience of struggle, but the quiet resilience of adaptation, the kind that bends without breaking, that rests without yielding. During these months, the bear's mind also drifts. Dreams, if they occur, are sparse, light, and Leading, the mind does not roam in chaos, but floats like a leaf on the surface of a still pond. Memories of summer hunts and autumn gatherings are stored in a gentle archive, ready to be recalled when the world warms again. Sensory perception is not entirely dulled. A distant sound or the faint smell of a predator might stir the bear, prompting a slow, careful response. Even in what seems like absence, the bear is still a presence, listening, adapting, living in accordance with the subtle currents of the forest. Hibernation is therefore not cessation. It is transformation, a gradual, poetic shifting from one state of being to another. The den itself becomes a cocoon. Outside, snow gathers on branches, each flake adding weight and silence. The forest is hushed, trees bending under frost, and the wind moving like a soft exhalation through the skeletons of leaves. Within this quiet chamber, the bear becomes part of the rhythm of winter, its breathing echoing the slow sway of the earth. One might imagine time as elastic here, stretching and bending, a gentle river in which minutes and hours are softened, flowing together in a seamless, gentle continuum. For those watching, hibernation seems like disappearance, but for the bear, it is a delicate, intimate act of living attuned to the world's slow pulse. Hibernation is also a story of balance. The bear enters winter heavy with fat, the product of months of foraging, of wandering the forest, of tasting the last sweetness of berries and the crunch of acorns. This stored energy will sustain it through the long months of quiet, and in turn, the bear sustains the forest in its absence. Seeds that have passed through its digestive tract may be scattered in the early thaw, fertilizing the soil, promoting life even as the animal rests. Life and rest are intertwined, each feeding the other, each dependent on the subtle laws of patience and timing. The bear does not simply sleep. It participates in a larger cycle, an intricate choreography of endurance, energy, and care. Imagine the first snowflakes, soft and unhurried, drifting down upon the forest. They settle on the den, muffling sounds, softening the edges of trees and blanketing the world in quiet. Inside, the bear's body adjusts with a calm precision. Blood pressure lowers, breathing slows, and the gentle pulse of life becomes almost imperceptible. It is a marvel of physiological poetry. Life continues, quietly, efficiently, beautifully, with each cell aligned to the rhythm of survival and harmony. The bear sleeps, yet it is awake in the ways that matter, alert to shifts in temperature, responsive to scent, ready to move if the forest demands it. This is the paradox and wonder of hibernation, absolute rest paired with subtle awareness. The months pass in darkness and cold, a deep, slow meditation. The bear's fur thickens, muscles retain their tone, and bones remain strong. Energy reserves carefully diminish, neither too fast nor too slow, like a candle burning at the perfect pace to illuminate the den without wasting its flame. Dreams flutter lightly, memories stir, and the mind practices patience in its quiet way. Even hunger becomes a gentle companion rather than a forceful need, a subtle reminder of the cycle of life that will return when spring arrives. Hibernation is an art of waiting, a practice of being, a testament to the patience and wisdom of the body and mind in alignment. As the first hints of sunlight stretch through the bare branches and frost begins to melt in small, trembling droplets, the bear's heart quickens, its breathing deepens, and the world outside begins to call. The body that has rested, repaired, and transformed now prepares to rejoin the rhythms of life. Hibernation is ending, yet it is not lost. It is carried forward in every step, every thought, every movement. It is a gentle awakening, a return that honors the quiet months of patience. In this way, the bear's slumber is not merely absence. It is a deep, slow poetry of survival, adaptation, and grace, reminding us that rest is not weakness but wisdom, and that even the longest pause can be full of life and meaning. As winter stretches its quiet arms across the forest, the bear remains deep within its den, suspended in a state that seems both still and alive. The days outside are measured only by the subtle changes in light and temperature, while inside the bear exists in a world of slow motion, a realm where time seems to fold in upon itself. The heart beats with deliberate slowness, carrying oxygen and warmth through every sinew and fiber, and each breath is a soft whisper that echoes the rhythm of the earth beyond the walls of the den. In this prolonged rest, the bear's body performs a symphony of invisible labor. Tissues repair themselves, the immune system patrols with quiet diligence, and energy is conserved layer by layer in the precious store of fat. It is a miracle of balance, a testament to the subtle intelligence of nature that a creature can endure such a long, unbroken pause and emerge whole, vibrant, and ready to move once again. The mind of the bear, though slowed, does not completely withdraw. Thoughts drift lightly like smoke in a calm room, memories of summer hunts and autumn foraging surfacing and fading in delicate cycles. The smell of fallen leaves, the taste of berries, the warmth of sun on fur, these sensations linger in quiet memory, guiding the bear through the long months of absence without sensation. Hibernation is not forgetfulness. It is the art of selective attention, a conscious narrowing of focus that allows survival without conscious effort. Even in this prolonged stillness, the bear is alert in its own subtle way, responsive to any disturbances in the den, listening to the soft creak of timber, the scrape of wind against earth, the faint tremor of snow above. Awareness is folded into the body's rest, like a hidden current beneath a frozen river, moving invisibly but shaping the course of life. Bears hibernate not only to conserve energy but to synchronize with the rhythm of the seasons. Food becomes scarce, the cold grows persistent, and the forest itself withdraws into silence. Hibernation is a dialogue with nature, a dance of patience, a yielding to the larger patterns that govern life. It is not a state of helplessness but of harmony, an intricate conversation between body and environment. Every aspect of physiology is attuned to this seasonal rhythm. Heart rate, body temperature, metabolism, and fat utilization all decrease in carefully calibrated proportions. The bear becomes a living embodiment of efficiency and patience, teaching a lesson that extends beyond biology to the art of existence itself, that sometimes the greatest strength is knowing when to wait. Inside the den, the atmosphere is dense with stillness. The walls are lined with moss and leaves, absorbing sound, softening movement, creating a sanctuary that shields the bear from the harsher realities of winter. Temperature is maintained through layers of fur, fat, and insulation, creating a microcosm of warmth in contrast to the bitter cold outside. Within this sanctuary, the bear's body continues to perform essential functions at a reduced pace, conserving energy without compromising health. Muscle atrophy is minimized, bone density maintained, organs continue their cycles. Even as the world outside freezes and contracts, the bear's internal world is vibrant, a testament to the quiet genius of natural design, which allows life to persist in the most unlikely of conditions. While the body rests, a subtle rhythm of mental life continues. Researchers have discovered that hibernating bears maintain certain neurological activities, suggesting that the mind remains engaged in essential cognitive processes even during prolonged rest. Memories of food sources, territories, and social connections are retained, ready to guide behavior upon awakening. The mind practices restraint and focus, a quiet form of training that preserves the wisdom of experience without consuming energy. This blending of mental and physical economy creates a state of deep efficiency. The bear sleeps, yet it continues to learn and remember, to anticipate and preserve, as though hibernation itself is a form of quiet intelligence. The forest outside changes imperceptibly. Snow gathers, branches bend, rivers slow to a muted current under sheets of ice. The sky cycles from pale dawn to dim twilight, stars glimmer faintly through the bare limbs of trees. Though the bear is hidden and still, it remains part of this landscape, integrated into its cycles, responding in small ways to shifts in temperature, scent, and sound. Each subtle adjustment is part of the ongoing conversation between creature and environment, a dialogue that sustains life and ensures survival. Hibernation, then, is not isolation, but a deeper engagement with the world, a slow attunement to forces too vast to notice in the rush of everyday activity. Imagine the bear stretching, ever so slightly in the quiet of the den, its large paws pressing into soft moss, the body coiled in gentle arcs of tension and release. Even in this half-slumber, there is elegance in motion, a poetry in restraint. The body remembers the strength of summer runs, the weight of winter climbs, the precision of hunts, the warmth of cubs nestled close. Memory becomes a silent companion, guiding muscles and organs with an invisible hand, preparing the bear for the awakening that will come. In this sense, hibernation is an act of preparation, not merely rest. It is a deliberate cultivation of strength and awareness in anticipation of life's return. In the long, dark months, the bear's metabolism becomes a quiet masterpiece of adaptation. Fat stores are mobilized slowly, ensuring energy for survival without hastening depletion. Nitrogen is recycled, preventing muscle loss. Waste products are minimized, conserved, and reused in ways that preserve internal balance. Each system works in harmony, synchronized to the rhythms of the season, creating a living organism that is both dormant and alive. It is a testament to the resilience of life, a demonstration that even in apparent inactivity, nature finds a way to sustain, protect, and renew. Hibernation also provides an opportunity for the bear to heal and rejuvenate. Minor injuries, irritations, and stresses that accumulated during the warmer months are repaired. Cells divide, proteins are rebuilt, and organs function at a restorative pace. Sleep and stillness become a form of therapy, a gentle restoration that allows the animal to emerge in spring renewed and ready to engage fully with the world. The den becomes a sanctuary not only from cold and scarcity, but from the wear and tear of existence, a space where life itself is carefully tended, nurtured, and preserved. The quiet of hibernation teaches patience and presence. There is no rush, no frenzy, only a steady unfolding of time. Moments blend into each other, and the bear becomes attuned to the subtle cues of its environment, its body, and its mind. The rhythm of life slows, revealing the depth and intricacy of processes that often go unnoticed. This gentle slowing is a form of poetry in motion, a reminder that even in stillness, life is rich, complex, and alive. Every heartbeat, every breath, every flicker of awareness contributes to a delicate balance that sustains the bear through the months when the world outside is cold, silent, and unforgiving. As winter reaches its midpoint, the bear remains in its cocoon of warmth and quiet. Snow falls outside in endless sheets, muffling the forest sounds, while the bear's body continues its slow, deliberate work. Energy is conserved, cells are repaired, memories preserved, and awareness maintained at a subtle, efficient level. The den is both a refuge and a laboratory, a space where the art of survival is performed with quiet mastery. In these long hours, the bear becomes a silent observer of the rhythms of life, participating in the cycle of seasons while remaining protected within its sanctuary. The wisdom of hibernation lies not only in survival, but in the gentle cultivation of strength, patience, and balance. When the first hints of thaw appear on the snow and the pale sun stretches longer across the horizon, the bear remains undisturbed by change. Its body has adjusted perfectly to the passing of time, prepared to re-enter the world with renewed strength and clarity. Hibernation has been more than sleep. It has been a journey into the heart of patience, a meditation on the rhythms of life, a gentle surrender that paradoxically strengthens the body, sharpens the mind, and renews the spirit. It is a quiet miracle, a lesson in resilience, a poetic testament to the elegance of life's natural cycles, and a reminder that rest, when embraced fully, can become an art of survival and wisdom. Spring arrives quietly, almost imperceptibly, in the forest. Snow begins to retreat from the edges of the river, leaving shallow pools that reflect the first tender rays of sunlight. The air carries the faint scent of earth warming, of buds swelling under the gentle insistence of warmth. Deep within a secluded den, the bear stirs. Its movements are slow and deliberate, as if reacquainting itself with its own body. Muscles stretch and flex, articulating limbs that have been dormant for months. Each breath is a soft acknowledgement of the air outside, a gentle intake that seems almost reverent after the long, insulated silence of winter. Emerging from hibernation is not abrupt. It is a process, a gradual negotiation between stillness and motion, between internal readiness and the external world that has shifted in the bear's absence. The bear lifts its head, eyes blinking against the sudden brightness, pupils adjusting to the clarity of spring light. The scent of melted snow, damp earth, and fresh leaves fills its senses, an orchestra of stimuli that has been muffled for so long. Instinctively it rises, paws pressing into the softened forest floor, each step careful yet curious. Movement is rediscovery. The body recalls the rhythms of walking, of climbing, of hunting, and even the subtle balance required to navigate uneven terrain. It is as though the bear's body has been quietly rehearsing, preserving memory in muscle, maintaining the elegance of movement even as it remained hidden and still. The harmony between body and mind is remarkable, a testament to the intricate design of hibernation, which does not merely suspend life but nurtures it in hidden, profound ways. Outside, life unfolds in myriad gentle rhythms. Streams bubble over newly exposed stones, carrying melted snow to lower valleys. Buds unfurl into tender leaves, releasing subtle fragrances into the warming air. Birds return with soft songs, filling the forest with sound after months of quiet. The bear moves through this awakening world with caution and attentiveness, tasting each scent, listening to each ripple, observing the interplay of light and shadow on bark and leaf. There is a sense of reunion, a delicate reconnection to the larger web of life that has been moving without pause through the cold months. The forest is alive, but the bear's perspective is unhurried, contemplative, attuned to the details that often escape notice in faster rhythms of activity. As the bear explores, energy gradually returns to the body. Metabolism accelerates, heart rate normalizes, and the digestive system readies for sustenance after months of fasting. The first bites of tender vegetation are carefully chosen, the flavors awakening taste buds dulled by winter's absence of food. Each chew is deliberate, an appreciation of nourishment that goes beyond mere survival. Energy flows through the body in new patterns, muscles re-engage, and the bear's presence becomes an active part of the forest again. This phase of emergence is not just physical but psychological. Curiosity expands, awareness sharpens, and the bear begins to interact with its environment in dynamic and meaningful ways. Memory plays a critical role in this reintroduction to the world. Routes to water, locations of early spring berries, and the subtle patterns of other creatures, movements are remembered and adjusted to with surprising precision. Hibernation has not erased experience. It has preserved it in a form that is ready to guide decisions and actions. The mind operates quietly, balancing instinct with recollection, coordinating senses with motor skills. The bear demonstrates a remarkable combination of adaptability and constancy, responding to new conditions while anchored by internalized knowledge. It is a living example of the resilience of life, the capacity to pause, preserve, and re-emerge with both strength and wisdom. The forest itself seems to acknowledge the bear's return. Branches sway gently in the breeze, streams glisten with renewed clarity, and the warmth of sunlight on moss and leaf seems to encourage movement and growth. There is an almost imperceptible harmony between the bear and its surroundings, a dance of mutual recognition and coexistence. Every step the bear takes through the forest is an integration of past memory, present awareness, and future anticipation. The quiet of winter has transitioned into the complexity of spring, and the bear navigates this transition with gentle attentiveness, a living bridge between seasons, a participant in the ongoing story of life. Even in moments of stillness, the bear remains connected to the cycles that shape the forest. Pausing beside a bubbling brook, it observes the water flowing over stones, listening to its rhythmic song. Tiny fish dart beneath the surface, and insects skim the water, hinting at the resumption of intricate ecological dances that have continued in miniature even during winter. The bear's breathing synchronizes subtly with these external rhythms, a tacit acknowledgement of its place within the environment. There is serenity in this awareness, a quiet satisfaction in being part of something larger than oneself. Hibernation has concluded, but its lessons in patience, observation, and harmony persist in every measured movement. The awakening process also reveals vulnerabilities and adaptations. Muscles must regain full strength, sensory systems must recalibrate to detect subtle environmental cues, and the body must manage the influx of energy from renewed feeding. The bear's physiology handles these changes with remarkable grace, reflecting the evolutionary wisdom embedded in species that rely on cyclical periods of dormancy. There is an elegance to this reactivation, a choreography of systems and responses that has been finely tuned over millennia. Observing the bear in this state, one cannot help but sense the profound intelligence of natural processes, the poetry hidden in the mechanics of survival and adaptation. Spring's slow unfolding brings a new rhythm to the bear's life. Days lengthen, warmth increases, and opportunities for foraging multiply. Yet the bear's movement retains a softness, a reverence for the stillness that preceded action. Its mind carries echoes of hibernation, a memory of patience and the value of deliberate pacing. The body moves with renewed vigor, but the lessons of quiet endurance linger, shaping choices, guiding interactions, and influencing perception. Hibernation, while a period of apparent inactivity, leaves an indelible imprint on behavior, an integration of reflection and action that ensures survival and well-being. The forest, the bear, and the cycles of life are intertwined in ways that invite contemplation. Snowmelt, bud emergence, and bird song serve as subtle reminders of the continuity of life, the quiet persistence of natural rhythms. The bear's emergence from hibernation embodies the culmination of these rhythms, a return to activity that is measured, attentive, and deharmonious. Observing this process encourages a gentle reflection on the cycles that govern all living beings, the delicate interplay between stillness and motion, conservation and action, rest and growth. It is a lesson in the beauty of timing, the art of waiting, and the power of renewal. As the bear explores further, it encounters other signs of spring, patches of blooming flowers, insects awakening from their own periods of dormancy, and the soft hum of earth warming under sunlit skies. Each encounter is subtle yet profound, a quiet dialogue between the bear and the world it inhabits. Movement becomes increasingly confident, senses increasingly acute, and the bear's presence more integrated within the forest tapestry. Hibernation has not been a withdrawal from life, but a preparation for deeper engagement, a period of stillness that amplifies perception, strengthens body and mind, and attunes the creature to the subtleties of its environment. By the time spring reaches its full expression, the bear is fully active, traversing its territory with ease, interacting with the environment, and responding to the demands of daily survival. Yet traces of hibernation linger, a calm deliberateness in movement, an attentiveness to rhythm, a sensitivity to subtle shifts in the world around. These qualities are not merely biological, they carry an almost poetic resonance, a quiet testament to the power of rest, reflection, and attunement with natural cycles. The bear emerges as both participant and observer, a being shaped by seasons, rhythms, and the gentle wisdom of its own prolonged stillness. Hibernation concludes, yet its lessons ripple softly through each step, each breath, and each moment of renewed life. In the quiet corners of the ocean, where sunlight barely reaches and the water moves with a slow, undulating rhythm, creatures drift in forms both strange and wondrous. The deep-sea squid, with its translucent body, seems almost a ghost suspended in a liquid sky, its delicate fins pulsing gently as if breathing with the tides themselves. Sleep in this realm is not a simple closing of eyes, but a subtle dance with the currents and the pulse of the surrounding waters. Scientists have observed that some deep-sea animals enter cycles of stillness, their tentacles curling and relaxing in ways that suggest a form of rest unlike anything on land. The squid's luminous patterns dim during these quiet periods, the flashes of light that usually communicate intention or fear fading into calm obscurity. It is as if the ocean itself whispers a lullaby, and the squid, a soft participant, listens with every fiber of its being. In shallower waters, closer to the sunlit zones where coral reefs form intricate mazes of life, sleep takes on other, equally gentle forms. The parrotfish, a painter in hues of coral and seafoam, creates a protective cocoon of mucus each night, enveloping itself in a silky shield that drifts with the water. Within this translucent haven, the parrotfish enters a state of vulnerability that paradoxically signifies trust in the rhythms of the reef. Tiny symbiotic organisms move across its scales, unnoticed and unobtrusive, participating in the quiet choreography of the night. This delicate interaction, almost imperceptible, hints at the complexity of sleep in the ocean. It is not mere inactivity, but a time of subtle maintenance, reflection, and restoration, synchronized with the surrounding ecosystem. Farther from the coral, in the kelp forest swaying like cathedral columns beneath the surface, sea otters find rest in a surprisingly social manner. Floating on their backs, often holding paws with one another, they drift through the gentle motions of the water as if cradled in an unseen hand. Their fur, dense and insulating, traps tiny air bubbles that buffer the cold, providing warmth and comfort. Observing this behavior, one notices a profound sense of trust and interdependence, where sleep is not simply an individual state but a communal rhythm. The otters' bodies rise and fall with each wave, their eyes closed in serene concentration, breathing synchronized to the ocean's pulse. Here, sleep feels less like a withdrawal from life and more like a soft conversation with it, a participation in the gentle cadence of existence. On the shores, where the land meets water in shifting tides and whispered waves, another form of rest can be seen in crabs and other intertidal creatures. At low tide, some retreat into burrows or under rocks, their bodies folding in precise arrangements that maximize protection and conserve energy. In these small, hidden spaces, the rhythm of life slows almost imperceptibly. The sand above them warms and cools, sun and moon casting subtle, shifting light on their shelters. Even in these constrained spaces, sleep is not uniform. Some periods are lighter, with small antennae twitching in response to faint vibrations, while others are deeper, the body allowing complete stillness. The intertidal zone teaches us that sleep adapts not only to physiology, but to environment, finding balance between vulnerability and safety, stillness and responsiveness. Night brings different tempos to the forested realms of land and sky. Owls perch silently on high branches, feathers fluffed against the cold, eyes closing in brief intervals as they enter microsleeps, half-conscious states that keep predator and prey alike in delicate equilibrium. Their muscles relax, yet the nervous system remains acutely aware, monitoring shifts in wind, subtle sounds of rustling leaves, the distant movement of small mammals. Sleep for these nocturnal hunters is not abandonment but a finely tuned compromise, a balance between restoration and readiness. The calm, muffled forest resonates with their stillness, echoing in soft breezes and whispered leaves, forming a canopy of quiet continuity where life's rhythms continue even in apparent rest. Beneath the soil, another quiet realm holds its secrets. Earthworms, undisturbed by the above-world's movements, retreat into the rich, damp layers of their subterranean habitat. Here, activity slows, muscles relax, and metabolic processes drop to a gentle murmur. These creatures, so small yet integral to the ecosystem, demonstrate that sleep is not only a pattern of conscious mind, but also a state of bodily harmony, a delicate calibration of energy and preservation. Through their slow, wriggling motion, or lack thereof, they exemplify the universal principle that all living beings, regardless of scale, participate in cycles of rest and renewal, each adapted perfectly to their environmental niche. In deserts where the sun's intensity dominates the day and nights are unexpectedly cold, reptiles adopt different strategies. Some lizards burrow into the sand or hide beneath rocks, entering periods of torpor in which body temperature drops and metabolic activity slows dramatically. Even in this seemingly harsh and unforgiving environment, sleep finds a way, adapting its rhythms to the extremes of temperature and scarcity. The desert teaches patience and conservation, demonstrating how organisms can attune to the subtle cues of heat, shadow, and seasonal change, finding rest in spaces where life appears at first glance relentless and exposed. As one moves from the warmth of deserts to the cool, dim heights of mountains, sleep continues its many forms. Marmots, retreating into burrows beneath snow-covered slopes, enter deep hibernation, reducing heart rate and breathing to almost imperceptible levels. These animals embody the poetry of time, moving in synchrony with the slow pulse of seasons rather than the rapid tick of days. Their sleep is a slow meditation, a quiet dialogue with the shifting world above, where snow melts, streams swell, and flowers bloom in delayed, deliberate rhythms. Here, rest is not absence but presence, a profound engagement with cycles far larger than the individual, yet intimately connected to every breath and heartbeat. In the aerial world, migratory birds demonstrate sleep that bends space and endurance. Some species engage in unihemispheric sleep during long flights, resting one hemisphere of the brain while the other remains alert, guiding navigation across continents and oceans. It is a form of sleep that challenges our conventional understanding, merging movement with rest in a delicate, evolutionary mastery. The mind becomes a watchful guardian, resting without abandoning duty, navigating the vastness of sky and the subtle currents of wind. This balance between stillness and activity, rest and journey, speaks to the ingenuity and resilience embedded within life itself, revealing that sleep is not a single state but a spectrum of possibilities, adaptable to needs, environments, and survival. Even within the human gaze, studying animal sleep is a gentle invitation to wonder. Observing patterns, noting rhythms, and imagining the experiences of creatures from oceans to deserts, from soil to sky, creates a soft tapestry of understanding. Sleep emerges as a universal language of life, expressed in forms as diverse as the world itself. Each pause, each quiet moment, each subtle adjustment is a verse in the endless poem of existence. Through the eyes of scientists and the patience of observation, we glimpse the profound intimacy of rest, the invisible architecture that supports growth, renewal, and harmony. Every animal, in its own way, participates in this poetry, weaving its own stanza into the continuous song of the planet. The moon rises, casting pale light over forests, oceans, deserts, and mountains alike. Shadows stretch and shift, touching resting creatures with a delicate brush. Sleep is not uniform, but it is present in every corner. The faint flicker of a fish's fin slowing, the soft rise and fall of an owl's chest, the suspended quiet of a marmot beneath snow. It is a gentle, pervasive rhythm that connects all living beings, a reminder that Est is as essential as movement, as silent as it is potent. In the slow unfolding of night, in the quiet interludes of activity paused, the world teaches us that sleep is a sanctuary, a gentle renewal, a bridge between what has been and what will be. Listening to these varied forms, one realizes that sleep is not just a biological requirement, but a reflection of life's complexity, adaptability, and interconnectedness. Each species embodies a solution to the challenges of survival, finding ways to rest safely, to conserve energy, to maintain harmony with its surroundings. The ocean's depths, the coral reefs, the desert sands, the mountain slopes, and the sky above, all host rhythms of rest that speak to the elegance of evolution, to the quiet creativity of nature. Sleep becomes a lens through which we can perceive life's subtle ingenuity, an invitation to marvel at how every creature, great and small, has learned to navigate the delicate dance of activity and stillness. As dawn approaches, colors shift in soft pastels across landscapes, oceans, and skies. The creatures that have slept begin to stir, muscles waking from rest, senses reattuning to the world. There is a harmony in this transition, a gentle unfolding that mirrors the cyclical nature of sleep itself. Observing these awakenings, one can feel the continuity of life, the quiet rhythm that threads through all existence, connecting every creature, every habitat, and every moment of rest and renewal. Sleep in its infinite forms becomes a story told not in words, but in patterns, movements, and silences. A story that continues endlessly, inviting wonder and reflection. As night deepens, the world of animal sleep unfolds like a hidden symphony, each species contributing its own quiet melody to the larger chorus of life. In the oceans, some fish drift with a gentle, hypnotic sway, their fins barely moving as currents pass around them. Scientists have long wondered how their brains rest without halting the essential movements that keep them buoyant, alert, and safe from predators. Observations suggest that these fish enter a state of partial neural quietude, a sleep that allows body and environment to remain in a delicate balance. Here, sleep is not stillness alone, but a merging of calm thought and slow, steady motion, like the soft waves lapping against the shore, each ripple carrying tiny secrets of rest, reflection, and renewal. In rivers and streams, animals have adapted to constant motion and variable surroundings. Otters and beavers, moving through twisting channels and protective dens, exhibit sleep that blends vigilance with relaxation. Even as they rest, subtle movements continue, tails flicking, whiskers twitching, small muscles adjusting. Sleep in these environments is a negotiation with water itself, a gentle partnership where the river becomes a cradle, carrying the body in a soft, flowing embrace. This quiet partnership allows for rest without danger, a rhythm attuned not only to the needs of the organism, but also to the ever-changing pulse of the habitat, a lullaby written in liquid motion and whispered currents. Beneath the forest canopy, life slows in gentle, intricate patterns. Nocturnal mammals like bats and flying squirrels navigate spaces both physical and sensory in near darkness. Their rest occurs in short, fragmented periods, micro-sleeps that may last only minutes at a time, yet accumulate into meaningful restoration. Hanging upside down, suspended in their chosen roosts, these animals balance gravity, air, and their own delicate muscles with an elegance that transforms sleep into an art form. The branches sway, leaves murmur in the wind, and the forest hums quietly with life. Sleep here is intimate and intertwined with environment, a soft dance between creature and canopy, awareness and calm, motion and stillness. On plains and grasslands, grazing animals exhibit another gentle rhythm. Zebras, antelopes, and wildebeests enter states of sleep that are shallow and alert, punctuated by moments of full rest when safety allows. Herds sleep in rotation, some standing, others lying down, each member participating in a protective system that balances vulnerability and recuperation. Muscles may be relaxed, but ears and eyes continue a careful vigil. In these landscapes, sleep is a communal negotiation, a shared lullaby where each heartbeat resonates with those around, creating a soft safety net woven from trust, rhythm, and collective care. The wind drifts over the grasses, rustling softly, carrying stories of quiet vigilance and gentle renewal. Even the smallest creatures display remarkable adaptations for rest. Insects, often overlooked, enter states of dormancy where metabolism slows and activity is minimal, yet senses remain attuned to subtle vibrations and light changes. Honeybees, returning to their hives, pause in clusters of warmth, their wings and legs folded, antennae slowly moving in quiet pulses. Sleep in these tiny bodies is a careful balance between recovery and readiness, a momentary retreat into stillness without losing connection to the hive. It is astonishing to consider that such minute creatures possess rhythms so finely tuned, revealing that sleep is a universal language, articulated differently across scale, yet serving the same essential purpose: restoration, protection, and continuity. In caves and burrows, animals retreat from the world above, finding shelter in darkness that mimics the night. Bats hanging from ceilings enter deep sleep punctuated by rapid eye movements, suggesting dreaming or processing of sensory information. The cool, stable air of caves provides a canvas for their rest, where time seems suspended and every echo is softened. Mole rats tunneling underground engage in sleep patterns that align with the labyrinthine complexity of their habitats, finding comfort in tight spaces and social clusters. In these hidden realms, sleep becomes a subtle architecture, shaped by environment, social structures, and evolutionary history, an invisible scaffold upon which life can recover and thrive. Across polar regions, animals have perfected the art of endurance during long periods of darkness and cold. Penguins huddle together, their bodies forming rotating circles of warmth that allow each member moments of rest while maintaining protection against biting winds. Seals drift in icy waters, sometimes asleep on floating ice, eyes half closed, muscles relaxing in response to the slow, cold rhythm of the ocean. Even polar bears, dominant and solitary, must navigate periods of light and darkness, activity and rest, in ways that conserve energy and sustain life. Here, sleep is not only physiological, but also deeply entwined with survival strategies, a demonstration that the essence of rest adapts gracefully to the harshest of climates. As dawn approaches in tropical jungles, the cacophony of insects, birds, and mammals begins anew. But within this vibrant energy, microcosms of sleep continue, almost invisible to the eye. Sloths, suspended lazily in tree branches, maintain slow, steady breathing, entering states of calm that mirror the languid sway of the canopy itself. Frogs and toads burrow into moist soil or hide beneath leaf litter, their hearts and minds slowing, embracing brief periods of inactivity that enable survival in unpredictable environments. Sleep here is a subtle reflection of ambient rhythms, a soft alignment with temperature, moisture, and the quiet pulse of the jungle, a gentle synchronization with nature's orchestra. Birds of prey, roosting in high branches or cliff faces, demonstrate sleep that blends alertness with relaxation. Unihemispheric sleep allows one half of the brain to rest while the other remains vigilant, scanning for predators or potential prey. The transition between light and dark, stillness and subtle movement, exemplifies the nuanced intelligence embedded within sleep. It is a state that blurs the line between rest and awareness, showing that the mechanics of sleep can be as creative and adaptive as life itself. The air is still, the shadows lengthen, and in these quiet intervals, one can almost feel the gentle pulse of survival wrapped in serenity. Across deserts, forests, oceans, mountains, and skies, sleep manifests as a gentle rhythm, uniquely tailored to each species, each environment, and each challenge. The subtle shifts in posture, the careful coordination with social groups, the delicate timing of metabolic slowdown, all speak to an unspoken poetry, a quiet intelligence guiding each being toward restorative calm. Sleep is both intimate and universal, a phenomenon that connects creatures across space and time, revealing the soft architecture underlying all life. Each pattern, each adaptation, is a verse in a continuous, invisible poem, a gentle testament to the creativity, patience, and resilience of nature. Reflecting on these diverse strategies, one realizes that sleep is not merely a pause but a form of engagement with the world. It is a negotiation, a conversation with environment, predators, and companions. It is an alignment with the subtle rhythms of temperature, light, sound, and movement, a delicate calibration that sustains life and nurtures growth. Observing animal sleep teaches patience, attentiveness, and reverence for the unseen intricacies of life. Each flicker of a fin, each twitch of a tail, each slow rise and fall of breath becomes a reminder that rest is as essential as activity, as deliberate as instinctive, and as beautiful as it is necessary. In the soft light of dawn, as shadows lengthen and colors shift across landscapes and seascapes, the animals begin to awaken. Sleep has served its quiet purpose, restoring strength, sharpening senses, and aligning each creature with its environment. From the oceans to the deserts, the forests to the mountains, life continues, subtly shaped by the gentle wisdom of rest. And in this slow unfolding, one perceives that sleep is not merely an absence of activity, but a profound participation in the ongoing poetry of existence, a quiet, unbroken thread connecting all living things in a tapestry of calm, wonder, and renewal. As daylight slowly filters into every corner of the natural world, a gentle transition begins. The creatures that have been resting, dreaming, or simply pausing in quiet vigilance start to stir. Sleep, having fulfilled its delicate role, releases them back into motion, yet traces of its calm linger in subtle ways. The slow flutter of eyelids, the stretching of limbs, and the careful, almost ceremonial, resumption of activity speak to the quiet power of rest. In this liminal space between slumber and wakefulness, one can almost sense a soft reflection of the night's mysteries, a lingering rhythm that connects momentary unconsciousness with purposeful life. Each species reawakens in accordance with its own internal clock, synchronized with the broader tapestry of sunlight, temperature, and ecological pulse, revealing the unseen harmonies that govern every living being. In the forests, the early morning light slips through leaves and branches, painting patterns that dance across the soft forest floor. Birds stir in their nests, ruffling feathers in preparation for flight, while small mammals blink sleep from their eyes, emerging from hidden burrows with quiet caution. The memories of dreams, or perhaps simple neural housekeeping that unfolded in half-conscious states, linger in gentle neural echoes, shaping reactions, movements, and decisions. Sloths, slow and deliberate, begin their descent from canopy perches, muscles stretching after prolonged inactivity, while nocturnal predators retreat into hidden dens, their night of activity concluded. Sleep in these moments shows itself as a bridge, connecting the protective quiet of darkness to the vital interactions of daytime, a passage marked by tenderness, awareness, and subtle adjustments to life's ongoing rhythms. Beneath the oceans, currents continue their soft, continuous dance, carrying awakened fish and mammals along paths once traveled in sleep. Dolphins, for example, emerge from periods of unihemispheric rest, one side of their brains having remained active to manage breathing and navigation, now fully rejoining their conscious experience. Their movements are smooth, a continuity between slumber and alertness that seems almost seamless. Deep-sea creatures that drifted in partial inactivity now engage in gentle foraging or exploratory glides through water dimly lit by bioluminescence fading with the dawn. Each species demonstrates that sleep is not an isolated pause, but an integrated component of existence, a state that informs and shapes subsequent life, providing both physiological restoration and the subtle sharpening of instincts that ensure survival in complex and ever-changing habitats. On open plains, herd animals rise with a collective rhythm. Zebras and antelopes shift from lying down to standing, muscles easing into motion after cycles of rest that balanced wakefulness with alertness. The protective structure of their sleep patterns, alternating who rests and who watches, continues to influence their social dynamics. Even in moments of calm, the residues of sleep guide awareness, coordination, and subtle communication. A ripple of movement travels through the herd, soft noises punctuating the early morning air, ears swiveling to distant sounds, tails flicking in response to gentle breezes. Sleep here is inseparable from social and environmental awareness, shaping both individual physiology and the harmonious functioning of the group. In deserts, creatures that navigated extreme heat and scarce water during the day have slumbered in brief, strategic periods of inactivity, avoiding both thermal stress and predation. As the sun rises higher, reptiles emerge from burrows, their bodies warmed by the slow accumulation of sunlight, and insects stir, resuming patterns of foraging, mating, and movement. The adaptations developed over millennia allow these animals to modulate sleep to environmental pressures, balancing energy conservation with survival needs. Even tiny invertebrates exhibit rhythmic patterns of dormancy and activity that reflect the external world, demonstrating that the poetry of sleep exists even at microscopic scales. It is an intimate dialogue with light, heat, and resource availability, a subtle but persistent conversation between body, environment, and the passage of time. In polar regions, where long periods of darkness alternate with endless daylight, the flexibility of sleep becomes extraordinary. Penguins, after rotational huddling and brief resting periods, begin their coordinated shifts toward foraging or social interaction, their bodies and brains tuned to the rhythm of communal safety. Seals awake from icy slumbers, muscles flexing as they rise onto floes or dive beneath cold, dark waters. Then the solitary polar bears, whose sleep is punctuated by hunting cycles and seasonal fasting, align their rest and activity with environmental cues and internal metabolic needs. Here, sleep is a demonstration of adaptation, showing resilience and ingenuity in aligning biological rhythms with a world that challenges the very definition of night and day. Across skies, birds awake from brief periods of rest that punctuated long migrations or nocturnal flights. Their brains, finely tuned to manage complex navigation, adjust from sleep to alertness without abrupt interruption. Unihemispheric sleep, present in many avian species, allows for continuity in vigilance and orientation, softening the boundary between night and day. Feathered bodies unfurl in gentle stretches, wings flex in preparation for flight, and calls ripple softly through the air, blending with environmental sounds and signaling presence to others. Sleep's legacy manifests not in sudden energy, but in a measured readiness, an integration of restoration with ongoing interaction with the world. It is a soft, invisible hand guiding life forward, gently but effectively. Even among the tiniest animals, the effects of rest are profound and persistent. Bees, having clustered for sleep within their hives, now resume a delicate balance of foraging, communication, and communal activity. Ants awaken from cycles of inactivity to perform roles within their colony, each movement a reflection of coordinated effort and residual calm. Microbial and invertebrate sleep, though often subtle and imperceptible, ensures the continuation of species and the maintenance of complex ecological systems. From the smallest organism to the largest predator, sleep functions as an essential thread weaving together cycles of growth, memory, adaptation, and survival. The wonder of animal sleep is its astonishing diversity and its universality. Across habitats, climates, and evolutionary lines, sleep has emerged as both a necessity and a marvel, a state that balances conservation with readiness, stillness with subtle motion, and instinct with reflection. Observing the myriad forms of slumber teaches patience and attentiveness, revealing that life is sustained not only by visible action, but also by quiet, invisible processes that operate beneath the surface of perception. Each moment of rest carries implications for survival, cognition, and social interaction, reminding us that sleep is as much a form of life as wakefulness itself. It is a silent testament to resilience, creativity, and the profound intelligence embedded within nature. As daylight spreads and landscapes shift from shadow to soft illumination, a sense of continuity becomes apparent. Sleep, though fleeting, leaves behind a resonance, a subtle imprint on each creature's physiology, behavior, and perception. Life, in all its forms, continues seamlessly, shaped by patterns that are invisible yet fundamental. Observing this unfolding reminds one of the deep interconnections that bind all species to their habitats, to one another, and to the gentle cycles of existence. Sleep is a soft, recurring pulse that echoes across every scale of life, whispering that rest is not a mere absence but a presence, a vital, life-sustaining force that shapes the rhythm of existence. In the quiet reflection that follows, one begins to understand that animal sleep is a poetic exploration of adaptation, resilience, and subtle intelligence. It is a narrative written not in words, but in patterns of rest and movement, in the delicate interplay of physiology and environment, in the shared rhythms of creatures great and small. The night's quiet work has prepared the world for the day's activity, leaving behind an enduring calm, a gentle order, and a soft reverence for the invisible processes that sustain life. Sleep, in all its forms, is both practical and profound, a meditation on the artistry of living, the quiet ingenuity of nature, and the beauty of rest in its infinite, diverse, and delicate manifestations. The universe, vast and silent, stretches beyond the limits of ordinary sight, a canvas of infinite darkness punctuated by flickering points of light. Stars, born in clouds of gas and dust, emerge slowly, as if the cosmos itself takes a deep, measured breath before offering them to the void. In the quiet of the night sky, one can almost sense the gentle heartbeat of distant galaxies, their rotations and orbits harmonizing in an unspoken cosmic dance. Light travels across unimaginable distances, carrying with it stories of creation, collision, and transformation, whispering of the forces that have shaped the universe over billions of years. To gaze upward is to touch a timeline that spans epochs, a continuum where the present moment is but a soft echo of past events, and every photon carries a memory of the cosmos' endless unfolding. Nebulae, with their swirling clouds of hydrogen, helium, and heavier elements, appear like faint brushstir. Oaks across the dark canvas, these nurseries of stars hold within them the raw potential for solar systems, planets, and perhaps even life itself. Gravity, subtle yet unyielding, gathers matter slowly, coaxing it into clumps that will eventually ignite nuclear fusion, the gentle ignition of a star's life. In this delicate process, energy and matter converse silently, shaping the patterns of light and shadow that spread across the universe. Observing a nebula, one can almost feel the patient pulse of creation, the invisible hand of physics sculpting matter into order from seeming chaos. Time here flows not in hours or days, but in the slow accumulation of energy, in the steady march of particles responding to invisible forces, and in the quiet patience of cosmic evolution. Within galaxies, countless stars live and die, each cycle contributing to the enrichment of the surrounding space. Supernovae erupt with explosive grace, scattering heavier elements into interstellar space, seeding future generations of stars and planets. Black holes, dark and mysterious, bend spacetime around them, creating wells of gravity that trap light and memory alike. Their presence, though silent to the senses, exerts influence across vast distances, guiding the motion of stars and shaping the architecture of galaxies. And yet, despite the enormity of these forces, there is a serenity in their operation, a quiet predictability that allows the cosmos to sustain its intricate balance. The interplay of mass, energy, and motion produces a slow, hypnotic rhythm, as if the universe itself breathes in patterns too vast and gentle for human comprehension. The light that reaches us from distant stars is ancient, carrying with it the history of galaxies, planets, and perhaps even civilizations yet unknown. Each beam illuminates not only space but the mind's capacity to wonder, to imagine worlds beyond immediate experience. Telescopes finely tuned to capture faint whispers of electromagnetic radiation reveal structures invisible to the naked eye, spiral arms of galaxies, clusters of young stars, and the dark matter that silently dominates the cosmic landscape. Observing these phenomena evokes a sense of intimacy with the universe, a reminder that even across incomprehensible distances, there is a thread of connection. The photons that enter our eyes, or the sensors that translate them into images, bring with them a quiet story of cosmic history, gently unfolding in the mind as knowledge and awe intertwine. Within our own solar system, planets trace elliptical paths around the Sun, each rotation and orbit a measured, predictable pulse. The Earth spins gracefully, tilting on its axis, creating the cycles of day and night and the shifting seasons that shape life itself. The Moon's subtle gravitational pull orchestrates tides, guiding the ebb and flow of oceans in a slow, ceaseless rhythm. Even the smallest asteroids, drifting silently, carry clues about the early solar system, frozen remnants of primordial matter that witnessed the Sun's birth. Here, the universe's vast forces manifest in tangible ways, linking the grandeur of celestial mechanics to the intimate rhythm of life on our planet. Each movement, though imperceptible in the moment, participates in a continuous dance that has been ongoing for billions of years. Light in all its forms is a silent traveler, bridging time and space, revealing patterns of matter and energy with subtle precision. It travels unceasingly, at a speed that seems both unfathomable and reliable, bringing warmth, illumination, and information. Across the expanse of space, light carries the stories of atomic interactions, stellar births, and planetary climates. It bends, scatters, and reflects, painting cosmic vistas in shades both vivid and faint, tracing paths through dust, gas, and magnetic fields. Observing it is akin to listening to a quiet symphony of the universe, where each photon is a note, each wave a movement, and the totality a composition that unfolds over eons. The gentle presence of light reminds us that even in the apparent void, there is movement, connection, and the ongoing story of existence. Time, as experienced in the cosmos, is a slow, undulating current, flowing differently depending on mass, velocity, and gravity. Near black holes, it stretches and slows. Across vast, empty regions, it seems almost linear and gentle. This flexibility, predicted by Einstein's theories, adds a poetic dimension to our understanding of the universe. Time is not a fixed measure, but a pliable companion, bending to the geometry of space itself. Galaxies collide, stars evolve, and planetary systems form in rhythms that humans can barely imagine. Yet each movement obeys the laws of physics with unwavering consistency. There is a beauty in this order, a quiet reassurance that even amid cosmic chaos, there is an underlying structure, a deep symmetry that holds the universe together. The human mind, small and fragile in comparison to the cosmic scale, nonetheless engages with these vast phenomena with wonder and curiosity. By studying the heavens, by tracing the paths of light and gravity, humans participate in a dialogue that bridges imagination and observation. Telescopic lenses, spectrographs, and space probes extend perception beyond the limits of our senses, allowing us to feel the presence of stars and galaxies as if they were nearby companions. Scientific exploration becomes a meditation, a way to listen to the slow breathing of the cosmos, to understand its cycles and flows, and to find personal resonance within its grandeur. The pursuit of knowledge here is quiet, contemplative, and profoundly poetic, an acknowledgement of our place within a vast, interconnected universe. Even phenomena that seem violent or chaotic carry with them a hidden rhythm. Supernovae, with their brilliant and sudden outbursts, mark both an ending and a beginning, scattering the ingredients for new stars and planets. Gamma-ray bursts flash across galaxies, brief yet immensely powerful signaling processes that shape the evolution of matter and energy. Comets traverse long, arcing paths, tracing ancient material through the solar system with silent persistence. Each event, though dramatic in scale, unfolds according to natural laws, and when observed patiently, reveals patterns and cycles that resonate with quiet inevitability. There is poetry in these patterns, a gentle narrative of birth, transformation, and renewal written across the canvas of space and time. In the delicate balance of planetary systems, one can sense the interconnectedness of forces and matter. Orbital resonances maintain the stability of moons, rings, and planets, while tidal interactions shape climates, geological activity, and even the potential for life. Small perturbations ripple across systems, influencing future trajectories in ways both subtle and profound. Observing these dynamics evokes a sense of humility and wonder, as the mind traces the interwoven threads of cause and effect that extend across vast scales. Even in apparent stillness, the universe is alive with motion, a continuous unfolding of energy and structure that invites quiet contemplation and deep reverence for the natural order. The cosmic story in its entirety is both immense and intimate. Stars, planets, light, and gravity weave together an intricate tapestry that stretches across space and time. From the tiniest particle to the largest galactic cluster, each component participates in the ongoing rhythm of existence. By observing, reflecting, and imagining, humans can touch this rhythm in moments of quiet awareness, feeling both small and connected, fragile yet attuned to the vast forces around them. In this meditation on the cosmos, one discovers not only scientific insight, but also a profound emotional resonance, a recognition that life, matter, and energy are bound together in a gentle, continuous narrative that transcends the boundaries of perception and time. Let us drift deeper into the quiet rhythms of the universe, exploring the subtle exchanges that shape its grand design. In the space between stars, vast clouds of gas and dust float gently, seemingly motionless, yet in truth, they are alive with imperceptible shifts. Molecules twist and turn, responding to faint magnetic fields and the soft pull of gravity, forming delicate filaments that will, over eons, condense into stars and planets. There is a gentle choreography in these movements, a whispered agreement between matter and force, as though the universe itself sighs and breathes, guiding each particle toward its destiny. These spaces, silent to human senses, are laboratories of creation, where the tiniest changes ripple across immense distances, shaping the future in subtle, unseen ways. Cosmic dust, often overlooked, carries with it stories of distant stars, fragments of celestial history that drift through space on languid currents. Each grain, microscopic yet significant, participates in the grand process of planetary formation. As it collides and clumps with others, it forms the seeds of planets, moons, and asteroids, quietly contributing to the architecture of solar systems. Over billions of years, these tiny particles, born in supernovae or expelled from dying stars, find new homes in young planetary disks, a delicate cycle of destruction and rebirth. Observing dust through the lens of science reveals a hidden intimacy with the cosmos. Even the smallest specks hold memory, motion, and purpose within the vast, unfolding story of space. In the glow of newborn stars, we witness a soft alchemy. Gas and dust, gathered in tender concentration, ignite nuclear fusion, releasing light and warmth into the surrounding nebula. These stars begin their long lives with a quiet dignity, their energy radiating outward in waves that touch planets yet unborn. Some stars, massive and brilliant, burn quickly, living intense but brief lives, scattering elements that will nourish future generations. Others, smaller and steady, offer a gentle constancy like quiet sentinels of time. Within this spectrum of stellar life, there is a remarkable balance, a poetry in the way energy transforms matter, and matter responds with light. Each star's story is both unique and interconnected, a thread woven into the larger tapestry of the universe. Planetary systems form around these luminous bodies in slow, deliberate motions. Dust and gas circle the young star, gradually clumping into planetesimals, then protoplanets, and finally into fully formed planets. The process, seemingly slow to human eyes, unfolds with an almost hypnotic precision over millions of years. Gravitational nudges and resonances guide each orbit, sculpting rings, belts, and moons into harmonious patterns. There is a quiet artistry in this cosmic arrangement, a reminder that even in the apparent randomness of collisions and accretions, there is an underlying order. These systems, born from chaos and nurtured by physics, offer a glimpse into the universe's patient creativity, a continuous experiment in shaping matter into form. Life, when it eventually emerges, interacts with these celestial rhythms in profound ways. On Earth, tidal forces orchestrate the daily rise and fall of oceans, influencing the behavior of microorganisms and larger marine creatures alike. Day and night cycles regulate the internal clocks of plants and animals, a quiet dialogue between biology and astronomy. Even the faintest glimmers of light, whether from the sun or distant stars, play a role in shaping cycles of growth, sleep, and behavior. Life, in this sense, is not separate from the cosmos, but a participant in its ongoing narrative, tuned to subtle forces that stretch across space and time. Observing these connections instills a gentle awe, a realization that the rhythms of the heavens are mirrored in the quiet cadences of life on Earth. The passage of time, so fluid in the cosmos, finds echoes in the slow evolution of species. Fossil records whisper of ancient life forms, of creatures that once roamed Earth's surface and seas, leaving traces for us to discover. Evolution itself is a patient process, shaped by environmental forces, genetic variation, and chance events. Over millions of years, species adapt, flourish, or fade, creating a rich tapestry of biodiversity. In this slow unfolding, one perceives a delicate balance, an unspoken poetry in survival and adaptation. Each organism, from the smallest bacterium to the largest whale, is part of a continuous dialogue with its environment, participating in rhythms that are both immediate and profoundly ancient. Consider the migration of birds, a gentle symphony of instinct and environmental cues. Each autumn, flocks traverse continents, guided by magnetic fields, stars, and internal compasses honed over generations. Their flight patterns trace invisible highways across skies, a choreography of life tuned to the Earth's rotation and seasonal shifts. This phenomenon, at once ordinary and miraculous, demonstrates the intimate connection between living beings and the cosmic framework in which they exist. Observing such migrations, one senses a quiet harmony, a reminder that life responds not only to immediate circumstances, but also to subtle, overarching rhythms that have persisted for millennia. Even the seemingly mundane processes of plant life carry traces of cosmic influence. The opening and closing of flowers, the timing of leaf growth, and the cycles of photosynthesis are all attuned to light, temperature, and seasonal cues. Plants, in their silent way, measure time, record environmental conditions, and adjust their behaviors accordingly. Chlorophyll captures sunlight and transforms it into energy, a molecular echo of the sun's own fusion processes. In these quiet acts, there is a reflection of cosmic cycles within earthly life. The interconnectedness of energy, matter, and life becomes evident, revealing a universe in which every process, from the stellar to the terrestrial, participates in an intricate, ongoing dance. Our own existence, fragile yet perceptive, allows us to sense and interpret these rhythms. Through careful observation, science becomes a way to listen, to feel the pulse of the universe. Instruments extend our senses, capturing light across the spectrum, recording vibrations from the tiniest particles to the largest gravitational waves. Each discovery, whether of a distant exoplanet or a subatomic particle, enriches our understanding and deepens our appreciation for the subtle interplay of forces that sustain the cosmos. In the quiet moments of reflection, one perceives the poetic continuity of all things, the gentle interweaving of time, matter, and life into a narrative that is both scientific and profoundly lyrical. Even phenomena that appear isolated or fleeting carry significance across vast scales. A meteor entering Earth's atmosphere releases energy, illuminates the sky, and deposits matter that may become part of the planet itself. Solar flares, bursts of charged particles from the sun, influence magnetic fields and auroras, demonstrating that the universe's activity reverberates across space and time. Such events, while brief, connect distant and diverse regions of the cosmos in a web of cause and effect. By observing and contemplating these connections, one gains a sense of continuity and intimacy with the universe, recognizing that no process is truly isolated and all are part of a subtle, ongoing conversation. In contemplating these interactions, one senses a profound serenity. The cosmos, vast and complex, operates with a rhythm that is steady and comforting, a reassurance that order exists even amidst apparent chaos. The delicate interplay of gravity, light, and matter produces patterns that are both predictable and infinitely intricate. Observing them allows a gentle meditation, a space where scientific understanding merges with emotional resonance. Each star, planet, particle, and living being participates in this ongoing narrative, a shared story of existence that unfolds with patience, grace, and quiet beauty. Now imagine the gentle rhythm of life and matter slowing into an almost imperceptible harmony. Stars, having lived for millions or billions of years, enter the final stages of their existence with grace. Some swell into red giants, their outer layers drifting into space like soft clouds, leaving cores that will quietly cool as white dwarfs. Others, far more massive, explode in brilliant supernovae, scattering elements across the cosmos, a luminous farewell that nourishes future generations of stars and planets. Even in their endings, these celestial bodies offer a kind of gentle poetry, a reminder that transformation is a natural and beautiful part of existence. The universe, vast and unhurried, teaches us that endings are never abrupt, but part of an ongoing, interconnected flow of matter, energy, and time. In the quiet spaces of planetary systems, life continues to follow its patient, intricate choreography. Oceans ebb and flow with the pull of distant moons, and tides shape coastlines in subtle, unending adjustments. Within these waters, countless creatures follow rhythms dictated by both biology and celestial influence. Coral polyps extend their tentacles at precise intervals, plankton rise and sink with the passing sun, and fish navigate invisible currents as if attuned to an ancient cosmic clock. Life responds to forces unseen, translating energy from the cosmos into movement, growth, and survival. Even the smallest organisms participate in the grand symphony, their lives synchronized with rhythms that stretch far beyond their perception, revealing the intimacy between existence and the universe. Time itself, as measured by planetary rotation and orbital revolution, flows gently, unnoticed by many yet shaping every living thing. The seasons, a slow unfolding of warmth and chill, govern cycles of growth, reproduction, and rest. Plants bloom when days lengthen, seeds await the perfect temperature to awaken, and animals migrate or hibernate according to subtle environmental cues. These cycles, repeated over countless generations, form the invisible architecture of ecosystems. Within these frameworks, life adapts, persists, and evolves, quietly sculpting complexity from simplicity. Observing these cycles is like listening to a soft heartbeat, a rhythm that underlies the apparent stillness of the natural world, reminding us of the continuity that binds past, present, and future. The interplay of energy, matter, and life manifests not only in grand cycles, but also in moments of quiet interaction. Pollinators visit flowers, transferring pollen in a delicate exchange that sustains diversity. Predators hunt with patience and precision, maintaining balance without unnecessary haste. Even decay, the breakdown of organic matter, contributes silently, recycling nutrients back into the soil to nourish new growth. Each interaction, subtle yet consequential, is a note in the ongoing melody of life. By attuning ourselves to these quiet patterns, we perceive a universe that communicates not with loud declarations, but through soft, persistent gestures that accumulate into meaning over time. In the forest, under the canopy of leaves that filter sunlight into dappled patterns, one can sense a gentle conversation among plants. Roots extend and intertwine underground, exchanging chemical signals, warning of pests or sharing resources. Fungi connect trees in a vast subterranean network, transmitting nutrients and information with a patience beyond human comprehension. Above ground, leaves shimmer with chlorophyll, converting sunlight into energy, and flowers sway in response to the breeze, attracting pollinators with subtle cues. Each element is engaged in a silent dialogue, an intricate choreography that balance as competition and cooperation. In witnessing this, we are reminded that intelligence in nature often manifests as quiet adaptation rather than conscious thought, a wisdom that flows through forms, processes, and relationships. The skies above reflect similar harmony. Clouds drift lazily, their shapes and densities sculpted by wind and temperature, bringing rain that nourishes the land below. Rainfall, gentle or persistent, replenishes rivers and lakes, shaping the land through erosion and deposition. Sunlight filters through the atmosphere, scattering and bending to create colors and warmth, sustaining life with quiet generosity. The weather, ever shifting yet never chaotic, demonstrates the interplay of countless variables: pressure, temperature, humidity, and geography, acting together to produce a delicate equilibrium. In observing these patterns, one perceives a choreography that is both scientific and poetic, a testament to the interconnectedness of all elements in sustaining life. Even in the microscopic world, subtle processes mirror this cosmic elegance. Inside cells, molecular machines operate with precise timing, synthesizing proteins, replicating DNA, and generating energy. Enzymes guide reactions with astonishing specificity, and organelles coordinate complex activities that maintain life. Each process is executed with both precision and resilience, adapting to changes while continuing the flow of metabolism. The rhythm of molecular life, imperceptible to our senses, reflects the same principles observed on planetary and stellar scales. Energy is transformed, matter cycles, and systems sustain themselves through delicate, continuous adjustments. By contemplating these microscopic marvels, one can sense a resonance between the smallest and largest structures in nature, a quiet echo that connects all scales of existence. Memory and history, encoded in both living and non-living matter, carry the whispers of past events into the present. Fossils preserve echoes of long-extinct creatures, ice cores trap layers of ancient atmosphere, and tree rings record decades of sunlight and rainfall. These archives allow us to perceive time not as a fleeting moment, but as an expansive continuum, where present conditions are shaped by countless prior interactions. Similarly, life retains information in genes and neural circuits, passing knowledge and adaptations from one generation to the next. This gentle continuity, whether in rock, ice, or organism, reveals a universe that holds on to its stories, offering subtle guidance and context for those who observe carefully and listen with patience. As the day transitions into night, light itself becomes a messenger. Sunsets paint the sky with soft gradients, and the first stars pierce the darkening canvas. Moonlight reflects across oceans and forests, influencing behaviors with delicate precision. Bioluminescent creatures illuminate hidden corners of the world, displaying patterns that communicate, attract, or warn. These displays, though faint, convey information across distances, demonstrating that even light participates in the ongoing exchange between life and environment. Observing this gentle illumination fosters a sense of calm, reminding us that the universe communicates in both grand gestures and subtle glimmers, inviting curiosity, reflection, and serenity. Finally, as consciousness rests and awareness drifts towards sleep, the body and mind continue to respond to these rhythms in quiet synchronization. Neural circuits replay experiences, consolidate memories, and restore balance. Hormones ebb and flow, regulating growth, repair, and energy distribution. Even in stillness, the body participates in a continuous dialogue with the environment, maintaining homeostasis and preparing for the next cycle. In this soft interplay of life, matter, and energy, we find a gentle reminder. Existence is sustained not only through dramatic events, but through countless quiet, persistent processes that unfold with patience and grace. Observing, contemplating, and aligning with these rhythms allows one to experience a deep, restful connection with the universe, a sense of belonging within the continuous, poetic flow of all that exists.